Captain on the bridge.
Alright, captains, we are back here on the bridge, and today, yes, we will be on the Achilles Miracle Worker Heavy Destroyer. Yes, captains, but before we get into this video, do us a huge favor and hit that like button to help the overall channel out. But also, if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing here to the YouTube bridge, where we're always on the lookout for like-minded captains to share our love, passion for Star Trek Online, but also things Star Trek. Now that said, here we go. Yes, captains, again, a little late to this video, as we previously mentioned in the video that we released before this one, which of course was the Premonition. This ship was part of a bundle, the Heritage Bundle that came out last year in 2024, but we're getting to it now. So what we want to do in this video is go over the build, the weapons, space set, consoles, trade stations, and DOFs, and then take it into a Cure Advance. But yes, captains, I was aware actually of this ship. As we all know, the Heritage Bundle is full of ships that have come from previous games, but my experience with the ship, or where I first encountered the ship, was from Star Trek Starfleet Command 3, the Kobayashi Maru mod. Now, I had thought it was just a fan design, and I literally just found out when they released the ship that it was actually from another game, which is called, I believe, Dominion Wars Deep Space Nine, I believe, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So again, I didn't know, and when I was playing this ship in that mod, I do remember the ship being quite powerful. I literally set up skirmishes of this ship versus like Borg fleets or Dominion fleets, and it would actually literally wreck them without no trouble at all. So like what we did with the Premonition, we're actually going to check the trailer video of this just to kind of see it in action. Again, we're not going to put the sound on, we just want to see it in action because this trailer is still one of the best trailers that have come out from Star Trek Online. So we'll just play it here quickly and check it out in the trailer. Again, this was showcasing sort of, I guess, the scene from Dominion Wars. Here it is. Ooh, gotta love that warping. Always gotta love that warping. As phasers going off, and of course the cannons. And this is probably like my favorite shot here. It like releasing quantum torpedoes there from its top. It's pretty cool. Doof, that deflector. We'll talk about it a little bit more later, but that deflector, I can't. So there it is. Now, again, as I mentioned, this ship is from an older game, which is called the Dominion Wars Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Didn't even know that existed, in all honesty. Now, all I knew about the ship, that it was really powerful. Now, what I want to do next is kind of look over some images here, and what can you see from this screen here, Caps? Look at how she's angled. It's all from the top and literally not showing the deflector. Captains, especially ones that have been with me, you know how it is with me. I love ships, and first mostly because of their looks. One of the ships that I love and absolutely really liked was the Inquiry when it first came out. But by God, the deflector on that thing was absolutely horrendous. I actually called it the barbecue grill. Now there is one shot here of it showing the deflector, which is just a big old red thing. I really just don't like the look of it, in all honesty. What I said was for them to kind of give it the Inquiry treatment and literally maybe half the size of the deflector and just put like a normal looking deflector, really. And there's actually I believe a fan shot of them doing this, and if they did this and give us the option, this would be one of my main ships, period, point blank. It just changes the overall dynamic look of the ship when you give it like an actual proper deflector, and it actually just looks like the Inquiry deflector. So if you just gave us that option, again, all they had to do was just shrink the deflector to that, and boom, you actually have a really good looking Federation ship, and it actually just suits it more in my opinion. Now, that's just going off the cosmetics. Now, performatively, like I said, in the Star Trek Starfleet Command game I played, this ship was a beast. So when I looked this up on Google, this thing and the way that they armed it was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just going to read a little bit here from a couple pages. So Achilles class, this is from the memory beta non-canon Star Trek. So the Achilles class starship was a strategic heavy cruiser developed by the Federation during the Dominion War in response to the massive warships used by the Dominion Alliance, including the Cardassian Union's Hatut class and the Jem'Hadar super carriers. So I'm not sure if this is a in-game shot of it there, but I just want to look over the armaments here. Look at this: 8 pulse phaser cannons, 4 phaser arrays, 2 torpedo launchers, and 8 micro torpedo launchers. That just sounds absolutely awesome. And we all know the Federation is more like a peaceful thing, but no, when they put their mind towards making a ship that can go pews, can they ever? Now, I wanted to read this little part here because I thought this was pretty cool. So just more little history on the ship. It says, ship designers at Utopia Planitia were up to the challenge. They not only designed a totally new class, they also built in under 2 years by adapting current anti-Borg designs to the new threats. The Achilles was able to fulfill the long-range attack role with firepower comparable to that of the Sovereign. This was accomplished with the new micro-quantum torpedo phalanx arranged in a broadside array along the ship's spine. Although their size limit their ability to do much damage individually, fired in large numbers, the micro-torpedoes are able to seriously cripple or destroy attacking ships, thus enabling the Achilles to defend itself while focusing on the primary mission. Quad rapid-fire quantum torpedoes and enhanced pulse phasers enable the Achilles sufficient firepower to destroy most large targets in one pass. Redundant warp and impulse systems were incorporated into the design so that the Achilles can sustain heavy damage and still maneuver as well, ultimately return to base. The new retro thrusters enable the Achilles to maneuver as well as any Class 3 and most Class 2 ships, and finally, the Achilles has an unsupported self-serviceable range equal to the Galaxy class that is required to operate effectively behind the Dominion defensive perimeter. I thought that was absolutely awesome lore on the ship itself. And another page I want to go over here is this. Again, I'm not sure if this is an in-game shot of it, but just going over the armaments again. This has a little bit different, but again, this is a game, so maybe some people are making it up. I'm not sure, or if this was actually in the game files. But again, so 16 columnated Type 12 phaser arrays, 8 Mark 12 forward phaser pulse phaser cannons, torpedo launchers, 10 variable use torpedo launchers, 10 mini torpedo phalanx arrays, and torpedo layout. They had actually 50 transphasic torpedoes, 150 quantum torpedoes, and 300 high-yield photon torpedoes, 1,200 quantum mini torpedoes. That sounds like a ship that will give any species a bad day. So, again, this is meant to be like a warship, and again, comparable to the Sovereign class. To me, it sounds actually more powerful, but I think that the whole hope was trying to make a more smaller ship than the Sovereign, but give it a little bit more punch. And well, the punch did they ever give it. So we'll go over the build now. So again, I just called it the USS Achilles, the Achilles Miracle Worker Heavy Destroyer, and this is what we did with it here. So to keep up with sort of what it had in those pages that we went over, kind of had it over here, built that over here. So for weapons, we have the phaser quad cannons, of course. So this was just from the Defiance Valiants that we got there, and of course we epicked it out. Now, to emulate the phaser arrays that it has, we are going to be using the Wide Arc Phase dual heavy cannons, which are from the Lovi store, and of course is part of the whole 22nd century NX theme. Next up, we use the Terran Task Force Phaser Dual Heavy Cannons from the Terran Task Force reputation. It does some really, really good damage. And of course, one of the mainstays of this weapon is damage dealt increase as target's hull decreases up to 200% damage at 25% hull. So that's absolutely insane, and one of the still the best cannons in game in my opinion. To round off the cannon look here, so we went just with Advanced Fleet Phaser Dual Heavy Cannons. We just got this from the Fleet Starbase. And then the Maelstrom Quantum Torpedo Launcher from the Legendary Kira, of course, just to give it that quantum look as well. And of course, I need to have my torpedoes. Space set, nothing too different. The Elite Fleet Intervention Proton Matter Deflector from your fleet colony. The Prevailing Innovated Impulse Engines, which are from the Competition Rep. The Tholian Nucleating Warp Core, which is a reward that we received a couple years back, and serves really well. Gives a little bit more damage there. And then Tilly's Review Pending Modified Shield from the Discovery Rep. To round off the aft weapons, we have the Advanced Fleet Phaser Turret, again, just from our Fleet Starbase. And the Trilithium Enhanced Phaser Turret, which was a reward from the Nexus episode. Great turret, gives us some chance for some firing haste. And then one of the best experimental weapons to come out of Star Trek Online comes on this ship, which is the prototype phaser Hexa cannons. I love that. I don't know why I love the name Hexa cannons. It just works. So as you can see, they're massive phaser damage, narrow arc, 45-degree targeting arc, 16,115.3 phaser damage times 6 over 2 seconds, plus 20% crit severity. And then to target, of course, kind of the phaser proc, 2.5% chance, one random subsystem offline for 5 seconds. So I love how they gave this its own weapon. And of course, this is where it came from, which the trailer did showcase. So I thought that was really cool. And again, still, and it really does perform well from those people who parse and have used this, told me this definitely does hit hard on these types of builds because this is phaser centric. So this also I will be using a lot, and when I probably switch over to Defiance, it has experimental weapon slot. Either I go, use the Quantum Torpedo Launcher, the dual one, just to have the look from the Adamant, or I can go full out turret, heavy damage, and put these on. Devices next, we have the Kobayashi Maru Transponder for its buff goodness, the Temporal Negotiator to help with our recharges, and then some energy candy for its plus 20% bonus energy weapon damage for 20 seconds, plus 30 Starship Shield penetration for 20 seconds. So for consoles, this is what we're using. So the Custom Power Matrix, and of course this comes from the Helios, which was the ship reward from the 2024 winter event. Really good console, not gonna lie, a really good console. Now, as you can see there, you have different actual passives when you put it in different slots. Right now it's in a universal console slot, so in that slot we have 120% power transfer rate, so that's going to help. Definitely going to help. And of course, custom power rerouting while any is active, plus 20% recharge speed for bridge officer abilities, so it's also going to help with our cooldowns. Now when you toggle the actual toggle there on your tray, this is what's going to give you plus 20% weapon fire cycle haste, plus 15% critical severity, and then plus 5% crit chance. And this is these toggles here on my tray. So yes, you're probably going to see this on a lot of builds for those who were able to get this for the event prize, and those who missed it, hopefully they put it in the C-store sometime in the future. We'll continue on here. And of course, we are going to use the console that comes with the ship. As you can see there, it's the Micro Quantum Torpedoes Phalanx Array. It is quite the actual, it's quite a little spectacle but it really does hit hard. So launches 20 torpedoes, AoE kinetic damage, stacking kinetic resistance debuff. Then you also get plus 242.5% flight turn rate and flight speed for 8 seconds. Launches 10 targeted micro-quantum torpedoes at your selected target. Launches 10 seeking micro-quantum torpedoes. Each deals 35,287 kinetic damage. Each reduces kinetic damage resistance rating by 10 for 25 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. Area of effect is 1 click. So I like it. I personally like it. We're going to use it on a build. I believe we already did. So look out for it, because when we try to go for like a quantum theme, well, we're going to definitely use this. Another staple of the builds that we normally do, dynamic power redistributor module, which is from the Atlas, aka prototype Dreadnought, which you can get from your event prize. 11.3 all damage resistance rating, plus 90% directed energy damage. We like it for the clicky. This is pretty much the only heal that we have on the ship and most of the ships that we build out. Once you click it, for 20 seconds plus 40% bonus damage while your hull is above 80%. Plus 100 bonus damage resistance rating, plus 500% hull regen. And then we are pairing it up with this to give kind of our photon look, I guess. The Point Defense Bombardment Warhead, which is from any version of the NX. Helps our little torpedo out there by giving it 25% projectile damage, plus 1% crit chance. Now the 2-piece, of course, is what we're going for usually, which is this, plus 33% phaser damage for directed energy weapons. So yes, it's going to help. Next up, the Emulating Phaser Lance from the Deimos Pilot Destroyer, which you can get from your event campaign as well. Plus 15.8% phaser damage, plus 43.8 Starship Shield penetration. Next up, Domino, which is from the Bajoran Interceptor, which you can get now from the Phoenix Prize Pack as the Epic reward. Still one of the top recommendations from the Epic tier of the Phoenix Prize Pack. Plus 15% phaser damage, plus 20 AC rating. But when we click it, this is what it gives us. Weapon damage plus haste, extended by kills for 10 seconds. So 25% fire cycle haste for energy weapons, 25% bonus all damage, 25% recharge speed for bridge officer abilities, plus 100% recharge speed for torpedo weapons. If you defeat a foe within the time that you click this, plus 2-second duration to all effects. A really, really good console. And it helps the builds, really does, energies and torpedoes. Next up, we're going to use Adaptive Emergency Systems. Now, this is from the Odyssey class. I got this from, I believe, my legendary one, but any version that you get from the C-Store Tier 6, you're going to get this, or Tier 5, I believe. But it does give us plus 19 energy damage resistance rating, plus 3.3% maximum hull. So what does it do? Damage and damage resistance buff. So plus 50%, or plus 50, I should say, bonus all damage resistance rating for 30 seconds, and then plus 30% bonus all damage for 30 seconds. Effects increase by 50% when below half hull. So also helps us a little defensively, but gonna massively increase the performance as well. Now, I say usually we have the only heal is a DPRM, but we have been using this as well, called the Shield Absorptive Frequency Generator. When below 90% on any shield facing, 2.5% chance per shot for all energy weapons to restore shields for 200% of outgoing damage. So this comes from the Valdor, the C-Store, and it is a great actual shield heal. I know I've said in the past that shields don't matter here, but when you are facing some heat from the Borg, it does actually proc quite often from what we've seen and from what others have seen. So it is actually really worth it, especially if you're kind of like pugging in a group, going in a group that you don't know anyone. This will actually help you survive a little longer. Next up, Lorca's custom fire controls for the plus 3.9% critical chance, 7.9 weapon power setting, and it also gives us 157.5 Starship shield penetration. This is from the Discovery rep. Now, to also give us the beam look of what this has, according to some of the information there on the Googles, experimental power redirection. This, of course, is from the XL2, which you can get for your event prize. So 19.9% increase energy damage, plus 13.3 Starship weapon amplification. So it improves critical hit severity with weapons. And of course, this is just a symphony of beam thaw overload. So yes, this is gonna just look absolutely amazing when we toggle this console. Next up is the Fleet Power Network Array, which is from the Awani. Was from the 14th anniversary bundle. Gives us plus 5 max aux power, plus 24.2 Starship exotic particle generator, but we're using it for its toggle. So it says enhance ally and pets they control, but people have told me and confirmed this does actually help yourself. So to a friend and up to 12 pets they control for 35 seconds, this is what it gives us, plus 50% to 125% directed energy weapon fire cycle haste, and it scales from your aux power. Every 3 seconds, for 60% chance to apply one of either Beams Overload 1, Cannon Rapid Fire 1, or Torpedo High Yield 1 / Salvo 1. So this also helps overall, and I love it. This is a really, really good console. One of the most highly recommended consoles here in the recent Stow days. And lastly, we just kind of rounded it off here with a vulnerability locator for its plus 39.4% phaser damage and plus 2% critical chance. Now, as you can see, captains, I did not T6X2 the ship as we normally do. We just want to see how the ship does right out of the box, but I do actually have the stats here. My crit chance is 41.3%, and my crit severity is 135%. Now I do have my endeavors helping me. I am at rank 600. I could go to 750, but I was doing fine before, and I'm still doing fine now, so we're going to keep it that way for now. When it comes to the stats here, again, for these types of builds that we do, again, they are just for fun. They are more themed based. But when we took this out in an ISE, and shout out to one of my good friends here, Nick NB, he was the tank in that group. Now, it was configured in just kind of a random group while we were here on the bridge live. But first time we took this ship out, or maybe second or third, it did pretty much 1 million damage. So the only being supported by a tank, that's it. So this ship is ridiculous on a lot of levels, so just saying. We'll go over the skills now. Nothing different. I don't think I'll ever change it, to be honest with you. So this is what we did. We put 8 in engineering, 10 in psi, and then 28 in tac. For our traits, this is what we did. So our personal space traits, unconventional systems, superior cannon training, the Boimler effect, a good day to die, adaptive offense, fragment of AI tech, intelligence agent attaché, self-modulating fire, anchored, and inspirational leader. Now, of course, as I mentioned, this is not T6X2, so I don't only not have the extra consoles that you, of course, improve upon, but I only have 5 Starship traits to work with, and this is what we did. Of course, the main damage dealer of this, we have to try to maximize, and we use that by using Withering Barrage to extend our cannon scatter volley. Universal designs, the ruin of our enemies, emergency weapon cycle, and ship of the line, which is from the Inquiry. So just saying, please, Deca, if you ever watch this, please give us a chance to change a deflector, please. Just saying. space reputation, nothing too different. Advanced targeting systems, magnified firepower, precision, enhanced shield penetration, and Tyler's duality. For our stations, this is what we decided to do. So left, right, top to bottom. As you can see, it's a dual miracle worker, emergency powered engines, emergency powered weapons, narrow sensor bands 3, jam targeting sensors, scramble sensors, chemosite laced weaponry. One of my favorite miracle worker powers, just because of the way it sounds, is destabilize warp core. Because if target dies within 15 seconds, it explodes again, dealing 15,262 kinetic damage to foes within 4 clicks. I feel like it helps. Now, of course, one of the abilities for this, we're going to use Mixed Armament Synergy 2, which, of course, activating a beam, cannon, mine, or torpedo will cause you to gain plus 40% bonus damage to all the other 3 types. Of course, the main damage dealer here is Cannon Scatter Volley 3. Tactical Team, Distributed Targeting. And one of the reasons why I also love this ship is the ability to give me a Torp Spread 3. Yes, we're going to have a lot of Quantum's Fire in this Q session. And then just to round it off, we have Dr. Beverly Crusher and Sai here just giving us a help with Tractor Beam, just because. Now we go to our dupes. So the 2 on ground helping us in space, Neil Falconer. Increased damage versus the Borg. And an Elder Millicaton, increased damage versus also. I know they're slotted, I should say, on ground, but they do help in space. And for our DOFs, is what we did. So Emergency Con Holographic Officer for recharging our evasive maneuvers when we use emergency powered engines. See Tarsa, Projectile Weapons Officer. Chance to reduce the time to recharge torpedoes, so to help our Maelstrom Torp there. And another Projectile Weapons Officer, chance to stack crit severity when we're firing our projectiles. And in the last 3 here, Energy Weapons Officers, 2 of them will actually give us a chance to stack crit severity, with 1 giving us a chance to stack crit chance. So that is the build. Here is the ship. We're going to now take it into a Q advance, and as we normally do, we're going to go to the left docking station, clear that out as best as possible, zip over to the right, clearing all the ships heading towards the Kang, clear out the right, go to the middle, clear out that, and then finish off the mission. So let's see how it does. I have an idea what it does, so this is just to kind of share this again here on the bridge. And again, like I said, this did dang near a mil out of the box. So you can get some really good numbers out of this ship if built optimally. Okay, let's start this. Custom matrix stuff. Call the Kobayashi Maru. Aim for that. Start our buffs here. That took care of that. Okay. That took care of that. We're gonna head over here. Quickly took care of a lot of those, actually. Take care of that. I like how the quantum torpedoes are also firing from the spine there. I actually just noticed that the other day. Like, we are reserving our buffs here pretty good. We're gonna have a lot of buffs to spare here. We'll use some of it now. Use a quantum. There's the torpedoes there that comes with this, and boom, look at that's just ridiculous. Jeez. I'm sorry. This is absolutely ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie. Take this out. Oh gosh. Oh gee, I'm not even using a lot of my buffs, to be honest with you, Caps. Like I am, but I'm on a map like this, I usually like try to spread it around and manage it a little bit so that I have some buffs to use after my first initial attack. Holy jeez, that was quick. That was quick. Let's tell the game to get out of here. And look at that, we still have some buffs to spare here. That's insane. I'm not gonna lie, Caps. That's insane. And we'll still have some buffs happening here. Oh! Jeez. Yeah. This, yeah. I think, Caps, you saw it for yourself of how well the ships performs, and of course can perform a lot better. So let's head over here. We're going to take some shelfies. Not sure if this is going to be one of the thumbnails we use or not, but Captains, in case you don't know what shelfies are, there are ship selfies that we take, and normally we use for, and again, we have to find that just right angle to find to not show the deflector. Why? Because it is kind of ugly. Actually, I'll have another spot here. Let's see if we can. I always like kind of having Borg bits behind me just to show that the ship actually wasted the Borg, as you saw there. You Caps got to admit, that was insane. That was insane. That was absolutely insane. Not that right here, but that actually can work too as well. All right, let's head out and drop our final ECs, but I think, Captains, you know what they are. And for those who have the ship, you know the type of performance you can get with this. I mean, between the two, and when I say the two, this and the Inquiry, I'd have to give it overall to the Inquiry because it still looks good now with the newly revamped deflector. But man, if they ever gave this a new deflector, this could also be one of my main ships. I just can't this. I really can't that. It just looks like, to me from this view also, it looks like a Goomba. Comment below if you know what that is, but it looks like a Goomba. With that deflector change, if they do that, oh, this will just look so much better and just look that much more sleek, in my opinion. But Caps, that is the build. Again, this is the Achilles class from the Heritage bundle. Now, as of this video, you can get the Heritage bundle. On PC, you cannot buy the ship on its own. But on console, you can buy the ship on its own. There is restrictions now with newer ships coming out for like a year or 2 years. It somehow has not yet kind of happened there on console. So if you have not used your T6 coupon from your event campaign yet, you're trying to decide what ship to get it on, this is a high recommendation from me to get the ship. As you can see, and those who are familiar with my build videos, you can see sometimes how fast a ship performs in those Cure Advance. This is probably one of the fastest times I've had in clearing with no issues at all, clearing the whole map without not even getting a scratch on my hull. Well, I probably did, but it just out DPS'd everything and just killed everything so quickly. So performatively, if you synergize your builds, that's also one of the key things here, especially for newer captains. You have to synergize your builds to make it more effective. But at the end of the day, captains, you can do whatever you want with your builds because it is just for
command codes verified.
For fun. Now, that is what happens when you subscribe here to the YouTube bridge. So shout out to Chris for subscribing here to the YouTube channel while we're recording this video. We're gonna keep that there. That is what happens, and usually scares the crap out of me, which I almost got scared there. But thank you, Chris. Welcome to the bridge. Also, if you're new here, captains, consider subscribing to the YouTube bridge and you'll get that notification out to me whenever that happens. Of course, like the video, comment below, let us know what you think of this ship. Let me know what type of build you put on it. And actually, I do want to know which captains out there played Star Trek Deep Space Nine Dominion Wars. I'd like to know. And of course, we'll leave it on this note.